that itself is an interesting question about what the playoffs will look like. Does that change?
Yeah, I know.
Do you get into the third period and just lean on your top two lines? I mean, I feel like, to backtrack a step, the first thing he said there, I mean, here's Mike Kelly, who he's numbers. He knows a lot. I only mean this as a compliment. He says up front, like, well, their goaltending, man, it's been half a season. He sort of stops himself from questioning it.
Right.
And then he says, I don't really have any data for this. I can't tell you what's going to happen with the goalies. And damn right. I mean, that's how goalies goes. I mean, he's right to be humble enough to not try to, like some people, tell you how it's going to go with goalies, because nobody knows that answer. So good for him. But goalie is microcosm of the other point, which is, all right, well, I've gotten here how? With two guys going back and forth almost literally exactly for weeks. And maybe that continues all the way to the end. Maybe, what's tonight, 73? Whatever, odd or even, whatever tonight is. Whoever plays tonight maybe doesn't play the last game, however it lands.
Yeah.
Guy plays the last game, the other guy plays game one.
Right.
And I kind of want the Sabres to keep rolling like that. But, in terms of their lines and just their skaters, they probably will get into games and rein in certain players and lean on others. So, I don't know. It's one of the goalies themselves and then just sort of from a team.
That's a whole separate thing.
Macro. Yep. Like, it's one of the maybe the most interesting thing to talk about with them and how this is going to evolve.
There are, I don't have exactly the number of games left sitting right in front of me, but if they
11.
If they intend on choosing a guy, like if that, maybe they'll announce that, maybe they won't. My sense is they probably won't, right? We'll be waiting before game 2 at the game day skate for clues as to what's going to happen following game 1. And I get, maybe win or lose, they got lost. It'd be easier to just stay with the rotation. If they win, then I think there's a lot more maybe edginess to the whole scene, right? But if they want to, if they think, like if Lindy or the coaching staff thinks, and I have no idea what they think about this, but traditional hockey, like we talked with Flutus Shinzawa yesterday, he wanted the Bruins when they had Ullmark and Swayman to keep going with the rotation, but they didn't, right? Traditional hockey is, he's my number one, that's it, you're playing, right? If they want to do that, they probably should at some point here with 11 games left. Try that out with games every other day, right? Like if you think Luukkonen is going to be the guy, you might want to play him 3 in a row to see, or 4 in a row to see what happens, and same with Lyon. And maybe each guy should get a turn if you want to do that. If I might suggest that if they don't do that between here and the end, then maybe that's a sign that the rotation is going to continue.
Really,
because these guys have not played. Luukkonen one time had 2 starts in a row. I'm not sure if Lyon has. He probably did while Luukkonen was hurt. Yeah.
Wow.
Luukkonen. Yeah. I mean, at least once the rotation was going. That's why, like, if one guy was in or out, maybe they played more in a row. Like Lyon, I think at one point while Luukkonen was on the shelf the first time, not at the Olympic time, probably did. But I still think you'd want to make sure how they're going to handle it. How do they look in game 3? Of 3 in a row versus game 1. Like, are they fatigued? Are there signs of fatigue? Whatever. I don't think you'd want to just start out of nowhere on April 18th. Okay, you're going to play the next 30 games. That's insane, I think. So if they don't start giving someone a few in a row, maybe that's a clue that they're going to just stay with the rotation.
No matter what?
Yeah. Well, yeah, but that's where, like, I don't know if a guy – if they're flipping back and forth,
it's just interesting.
It's so hard to know. Like they win game 1 with Lyon. Luukkonen goes in game 2, they lose. No,
goodbye forever.
I want the opposite. I want Lyon in game 1, they lose. Luukkonen goes in, he wins. You stay with Luukkonen now in game 3, right?
There will almost always be a day off.
It always goes, right? So
that's the out the coach has is almost always there will be a day off, at least one.
Absolutely, yeah. There
games.
are never back-to-back games. I'm not saying they need like back-to-back nights. I'm just saying back-to-back starts.
I know.
Because they haven't done that at all.
But
hardly.
If the coach went, Lindy, if a coach went to the same goalie the next night because there were back-to-back games, that would be easier to question. That would be under more scrutiny.
That's right.
Than if a day off. And a lot of those days off will be travel days too. I'm not sure really how much that has to matter, but very interesting idea to test that now, and that is somewhat a question of how badly do they want first place.
Yeah.
I mean, first in the conference is in play. Carolina loses.
They're a point out
to Montreal. Hopefully you had that bet, by the way, from us yesterday. I mean,
yeah.
Plus money, Montreal at home against Carolina. Who's the better team?
And Blackhawks on the money line last night too, by the way.
Let's go. Who's the better team?
So,
I'd rather play Carolina in round one than Montreal.
I don't know. I
can't play Carolina in round one. I know.
No. Yeah. Right.
But Montreal is pretty scary.
Montreal,
Ottawa is a realistic conference final.
Montreal is really scary, high end. Like I'm not sure how buttoned up they can be. Like I feel like I've seen evidence of the Sabres locking games down plenty of times. I'm not watching Montreal necessarily do that.
I think
that's not to say they're not doing it, but I don't think they're as good at that. Their goaltending has been suspect at times.
Yep.
So
3 guys.
Yeah, there's
I think Carolina maybe badly outshot them too.
Yeah.
Last night.
Carolina outshoots everybody because they shoot from everywhere.
That's right.
That's their MO.
That's right.
They just chuck pucks from the whatever. Just get it to the net.
Darlings.
That's their plan.
The darlings of the league.
Right. It's why their numbers always look good, and then the playoffs get here and they don't win. At least not they don't go far. I'm sure.
I mean, opinions are welcome on this, like how to play it.
Well,
if they keep rotating, it's easy. This is what has worked.
Mm-hmm.
Everybody's used to it. We trust both guys. And, okay, give me any playoff scenario from the beginning. They win the opener 3-0. Who plays game 2? The other guy plays game 2? Then he loses. Then he's gone. He's dead. I mean, or just then they win game 3 with the first guy and they go back to the other guy in game. Nope.
No, not usually.
Just nope.
Right? That's not
going to happen.
Right.
So eventually they're going to break that. That's the point, isn't it? Eventually they break the cycle.
Yes. I think
it's a question of when and on whose terms.
It would be way too easy, way too much of a joyride for them to get into the playoffs after having not been there for 14 years and have it go smoothly enough that they can just keep rotating goalies every other game. I mean, it just never happens that way. So I'd be surprised, but again, like there might be a clue within these last 11 games about their intentions. You mentioned how bad do you want first place, right? We talked a lot in the last couple of days, couple of shows anyway, getting back even to last week, about Metsä and Stanley. Like, okay, third pair is stabilized. This looks good, right? Paul will tell you with authority, Metsä's their number 5 defenseman.
Is he coming out?
Guess who's coming out tonight, right? Timmins is healthy. What are they doing here? My guess is they know what Metsä is capable of now. They know if they get an injury in the top 4, I'm almost guaranteeing he's the guy that goes in. Any one of those 4 guys goes out, he goes in that spot.
Metsä.
Maybe not Dahlin, but Samuelson, Power, or Byram, I feel like unquestionably that's what's going to happen. So they know what they've got there. They've tried him out with other guys. They've tried him against better competition, so they know. What they don't know, right, if there's an injury, what is Timmins? And what is Timmins with Stanley? So tonight is a little bit of a kind of like what you and Shen played with Stanley. You could be fearful of what those results would be, and you were largely correct to be fearful because it didn't go well. We'll see what Timmins gives them tonight with Stanley and how Stanley reacts to not being with Metsä. But all they're doing to me is trying to figure out what they got to do when and if someone gets hurt.
I'm okay there.
Yeah, I mean, I think it makes sense to want to see it, but so you don't just get to game 3 of the second round. They're like, oh, Power's missing. What do we do? Like, well,
and nobody in our bench has played in a month.
Right.
Or 2 months.
So I think that's, and
4 months.
Timmins has been a very, very long time.
I'm okay there. I mean, I think it's just not, it's still hockey. It's not Josh Allen. It's still not consequential enough for it to be a big scene.
Mm-hmm.
And there's also, I think, no reason to question Ruff on Metza from how he's talked.
Right. I don't think he's being punished.
No.
Or they know what he is, and they know what he's capable of. Obviously, the Big Four are their meal ticket, but I think they trust that he can step in there. So let's give him a night off, and let's see what Timmins does with Stanley. Maybe another game. I don't know if this will, I don't think you want to necessarily sit Metza for games in a row here, but at some point they will probably do the same thing with Kesselring. They've already done it with Shen. I think they know what Shen is, and, it didn't go great. So hopefully they don't get to the point where they got to worry about using him. But Kesselring and Timmins are both, competent, easily. Kesselring was supposed to be a top 4 guy.
Yep.
He was basically supposed to replace Samuelson before Samuelson showed up and just took the season by storm this year. So let's see what Timmins and Stanley can do just in case we need, again, to get there if it happens. It's a long road here. Anything could happen. You're playing Zadorov tonight. I mean, he could knee job somebody, and then you're stuck. So they're just trying, I think, to figure out who's who. I don't take tonight as a troubling sign at all for Metza. In fact, I think it's a compliment.
I don't know Tampa's depth well enough to know if there is a comp with them. They've won a lot more. They've been in the playoffs every year and gone far. Like, they're not a team where they'd have to sort of like think, all right, how are we going to react to the playoffs? And maybe the Sabres shouldn't think that way either. I feel like probably they shouldn't because games are games. But, everybody talks like the playoffs are different. I wonder if Tampa has a little bit of an easier time navigating the end game than maybe the Sabres would. But so far I'm fine with everything. Like, if they want to mix up, take in a couple of guys, they're going to play Wednesday, Friday, Saturday here. The schedule is still compacted. Like, you want to try different things out like they have been doing? Okay. I'm not going to complain. I'm not going to criticize them for it. Mike Schopp and the Bulldog at Roswell Park. The ride for Roswell officially opens, launches,
This is a
starts.
kickoff event.
We're not riding today.
Right, no.
But it's the kickoff event.
3 months from Friday is the ride, I think. Right, today's the 25th? 27th.
Yes.
Yeah, so June 27th. 3 months from Friday.
I won't even be to the dentist by then.
No? Wow.
It's that close.
Yeah. Meanwhile, I'll have 2 more haircuts by then.
At least. Unless I trade with you for an eye appointment or something. I'll throw in a fifth.
I do need an eye appointment.
I'll throw eye appointment and a fifth for your